Hello again, I'm Stephen Jerome, and I'm going to continue reading from my third novel, The London Year. So the caper is afoot now. Colin and Terry are trying to figure out how to basically steal the face, the portrait that Finn did of Sebastian. I had a day's work ahead of me and could barely keep my focus. Just after lunchtime, Mr. Taylor approached, saying I was wanted upstairs in the employment office. Oh, shit. I knew I was only guilty of dubious intent, but I'd learned firsthand how stealth Harrods' security could be. Maybe they were watching the entire time. Mr. Taylor's dour look said, "What have you done this time?" He hadn't forgotten the black mark on my rap sheet, though I'd certainly minded my P's and Q's since then. Tess hadn't showed her face at all. I had continued helping Dolly don't forget my discount. I was almost ready to go down with that ship. I really had no idea what they wanted me for upstairs. So, taking off my white food halls overcoat and wearing yesterday's clothes, I went up to the 5th floor, found the office, and made my presence known. While I waited, I thought that now might be a good time to just put in my notice, that is, if I still had a job. I was about to depart England anyway. No need to fire me. I just quit. Then I was called. A very pleasant woman of middle age invited me to sit down opposite her desk. Her tone was warm, which surprised me. "We've been reviewing your employment history," she began, and I braced myself. Then the surreal happened. It seemed I'd never received 2 raises I had due. "Somehow you slipped through the cracks," she said, with an awkward little laugh. Then, with Harrods' sincere apologies, she handed me a check for £280. On top of the 400 quid I just received from Sebastian, and with what money I'd saved, I could now return to L.A. with almost as much as when I'd left, and a cool wardrobe to boot. In fact, I had enough to avoid doing the one thing I was most afraid I'd have to do when I returned to L.A., and that was take 2 steps back by moving in with my parents. That would be the biggest mistake I could ever make. The department phone was ringing. As I arrived back from the office, Mr. Taylor wasn't around, so I picked it up. It was Colin. "Terry," he said immediately. He recognized my voice, and all I'd said was frosted food. His words came out in a breathless stream as he laid out a new plan that was less costly and involved just the 2 of us. He'd rented a smaller van fitted out to safely move the artwork. When I asked where we were going, he said to the manor house in Gloucestershire. "To Francesca's?" I almost shouted before lowering my voice. "Are you serious?" I know, he said, before I had time to say more. "She's being a damned good sport about it," he said, adding, "Good old Boots." Old Boots? Wait, that was a new one. I'd never heard the expression before, though the tone suggested a term of endearment. God help me, I was still learning something English every day. When I asked where Gloucestershire was, Colin said it was west of Oxford. Well, that much I could envision. The manor house was near a town called Cheltenham, and I had no idea where that was. I could never afford to do England like a tourist. The scruffy backpackers doing Dubrovnik probably saw more of the UK than I ever did. Colin said he'd meet me after work on Sloane Street, where we'd parked before. In mid-afternoon, Dermot walked through frosted food, heading home. I was busy at the cash register with a line of customers, but our eyes connected. This time we had something to say. I mouthed thank you, and he nodded a conspiratorial smile. We'd save the day, maybe both our jobs, by aborting the mission. If that was going to be our secret love affair, then I guess we'd had it. Now I was looking forward to visiting the ancestral home of a real-life baroness. Perfect. We'll continue tomorrow. Thanks for following along.